Hello, and welcome in to another edition of Lectures Revisit, where I, a stutterer, practice my speech by saying my favorite and most iconic speeches of all time. And today's speech, much like our last speech, is another TED Talk, and it's entitled How to Speak So That People Want to Listen. It's by Julian Treasure. It has over 42 million views, and it's exactly the type of speech that I am aiming at. How to improve your speaking through speech so that people actually want to listen. Without any further ado, let's begin. The human voice is the instrument we all play. It's the most powerful sound in the world, probably. It's the only one that can start a war or say, I love you. And yet many people have the experience that when they speak, people don't listen to them. Why is that? How can we speak powerfully to make change in the world? What I would like to suggest, there are a number of habits we have to move away from. I've assembled 7 deadly habits of speaking, and this isn't an exhaustive list, but these 7 are pretty large habits that we can all fall into. First, gossip, speaking ill of somebody who's not present. Not a nice habit, and we know perfectly well the person gossiping 5 minutes later will be gossiping about us. Second, judging. You know, people who are like this in conversation, it's very hard to listen to somebody if you know that you are being judged, found wanting at the same time. Third, negativity. You can fall in to this. My mother, in the last years of her life, became very, very negative. Once I asked her, oh, it's October 1st today, and she said, oh, isn't that dreadful? And it's hard to listen when someone's that dreadful. And another form of negativity, complaining. Well, this is the national art of the UK. It's our national sport. We complain about the weather, about sport, and actually complaining is viral misery. It's not spreading sunshine and lightness in the world. Excuses. We've all met this guy. Maybe we've all been this guy. Some people have a blame thrower. They just pass it on to everybody else and don't take responsibility for the action. And again, it's hard to listen to somebody who's being like that. Penultimate, the 6th of the 7, embroidery, exaggeration. It demeans our language, actually, because sometimes if I actually see something that really is awesome, what do I call it? And then, of course, this exaggeration, because lying out not lying. We don't want to listen to people we know are lying to us. And finally, dogmatism, the confusion of facts with opinions. When those two things get conflated, you are listening in to the wind. Somebody is bombarding you with their opinions as if they were true. It's difficult to listen to that. So here they are, 7 deadly sins of speaking. These are things I think we need to avoid. But is there a positive way to think about this? Yes, there is. I would like to suggest that there are 4 really powerful cornerstones, foundations that we can stand on if we want our speech to be powerful and to make change in the world. Fortunately, these things spell a word. The word is hail and has a great definition as well. And I'm not speaking about the stuff that falls from the sky and hits you in the head. I'm speaking about this definition, to greet and claim enthusiastically. And these 4 things, and what do they stand for? Let's see if you can guess. The H, honesty, of course. Being true in what you say, being straight and clear. The A is authenticity, just being yourself. A friend of mine described it as standing in your own truth, which I think is a lovely way to put it. The I is integrity, being your word, actually doing what you say, and being somebody people can trust. And the L is love. And I don't mean romantic love, but I do mean wishing people well for 2 reasons. First of all, I think absolute honesty may not be what we want. My goodness, you look ugly this morning. Perhaps that's not necessary. Tempered with love, of course, honesty is a great thing. But also, if you are really wishing somebody well, it's very hard to judge them at the same time. I'm not even sure you can do those things simultaneously. So, hail. Also, that's what you say. And it's like the old song, it's also how you say it. You have an amazing toolbox. This instrument is incredible. And yet, this is a toolbox that very few people have ever opened. And I would like to have a little rummage in there with you now for just a few tools that you might want to pull out and play with to improve the power of your speaking. Register, for example. Now, falsetto register may not be very useful most of the time, but there's a register in between, and I won't be very technical about this. But if you speak up here in my nose, or if I speak here in my throat, which is where most of us speak most of the time, but if you want weight, you want to come down here to the chest. Hear the difference? We vote for politicians with lower voices because it's true, and because we associated depth with power, and that's register. And we have timbre, and it's the way the voice feels, and we prefer the voices that are rich, smooth, warm, like hot chocolate. And if that's not you, it's not the end of the world, because you can train it. There's amazing things you can do with your breathing and posture to improve the timbre of your voice. How there's prosody. I love prosody. It's the sing-song voice of your song. People who speak all on one note are really hard to quite listen to if they don't have any prosody at all. That's where the word monotonic comes from, monotonous, monotone. And then there's some repetitive prosody where every sentence ends as a question when it's actually a statement. If you repeat that one over and over again, it's actually restricting your ability to communicate through prosody, which I think is a shame. So let's try and break that habit. Pace. I get very excited and speak very fast sometimes, or I can slow right down to emphasize. And then is our old friend, silence. There's nothing wrong with a bit of silence in a talk, is there? We don't have to fill it with ums and ahs. It can be very powerful. And pitch often goes along with pace to indicate a arousal. Where did you leave my keys? Where did you leave my keys? And finally, volume. I can get really excited by volume, or you're already paying attention. Some people will broadcast the whole time, try not to do that. That's called sodcasting. Imposing your sound on people around you carelessly and inconsiderately. Not nice. Of course, where this all comes into play most of all is when you have something really important to do, and it might be standing on a stage and giving a talk. It might be proposing marriage, asking for a raise, a wedding speech, whatever it is. If it's really important, you owe it to yourself to look at this toolbox and the engine that it's going to work on. And no engine works well without being warmed up. Warm up your voice. Actually, let me show you how to do that. Stand up, and I will show you the 6 vocal warm-up exercises that I do before every talk, that I do anytime you speak to anybody. Important. Do these. First, arms up, and then sigh out. Very good. Now we are going to warm up our lips. Go ba 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 ba. Very good. Very good. And now, just like as a kid. Now your lips should be coming alive, and the tongue is next. La 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 la. Beautiful, beautiful. You're getting so good at this. And then pulling on. I actually can't do that one. That's like champagne for the tongue. And finally, if I can only do one, the pros call this the siren. It's really good. It starts with we and goes to ah. The we is high, the ah is low. We ah. Fantastic. Thank you. Round of applause. Next time you speak, do those in advance. Now, let me just put this in context to close. This is a serious point here. This is where we are now. We speak not very well into people who aren't listening in an environment that's all about noise and bad acoustics. I've spoken about this on this stage. What would the world be like if we were speaking powerfully to people who were speaking consciously and in environments that were actually fit for purpose? What would the world be like if we were creating sound consciously and consuming sound consciously and designing all our environments consciously for sound? That would be a world that does sound beautiful, and we're understanding will be the norm. And that is an idea worth spreading. Thank you. He talks so fast, but he has so many amazing points. And the beauty of this instrument, the beauty of the toolbox and harnessing it from register to tone and pitch, all of these items are absolutely crucial that we don't even think about. And most of us just talk. Me as a stutterer, I have to intently focus on exactly how I sound, because how I sound affects if I stutter or not. And if I'm absolutely in my truth, I will not stutter. But if I'm at all self-critical or not pushing my best being forward, often I stutter. It's not hand in hand always, but being able to harness these other tools and focus on these different aspects instead of just stutter or not, then I'm able to truly wield my voice. And if I can do this as a stutterer, so can you as a person who speaks just fine. Just fine. I mean, I spoke this just fine. Everybody understood it for the most part with subtitles. But no, so can you. Use your voice. This is the most important TED Talk when it comes to speaking and presenting. This might be the most important speech and lecture on speaking, because also it's only 10 minutes long. It's full of brevity. He also speaks very, very fast, but it's not too fast that you don't understand it. He speaks a little too fast to be on a stage, but at the same time, no one missed a word because of how he said it. It wasn't just I'm talking like this the whole time. It was very beautiful. Speaking is much like jazz or even classical music. It has a sing-songy and a beat to it. Use that, wield it, and push your being forward into this world. Thank you.